distinguished Deacon Bashk.
Lajchak gave about yesterday's meeting. There were some positive signs, and this was our efforts to talk about how we can continue to encourage positive movement. The position of the United States remains very clear on this. We respect the authority of the Central Bank of Kosovo. We understand it has the responsibility to govern and determine monetary policy for all the territory of the Republic of Kosovo. This isn't about the dinar. This is about the manner in which the regulation of the central bank is implemented, but we're concerned that the manner which is implemented, as my colleague Gabe Escobar talked about last week, we're concerned about the manner in which it's implemented could be affecting vulnerable populations, and particularly, but not solely limited to the Kosovo Serb community. We think it's important to change its implementation or enforcement to address those concerns, and our conversations on that continue. It's good to see that there are opportunities for both Kosovo and Serbia to provide some thoughts on how that can be done with follow-on meetings next week under the responsibility of Mr. Lajchak. We welcome all that.
Has Mr. Bislimi presented to you the proposals that are going to take into the table on Friday?
He did not propose, he did not give me specific proposals. I think the government is still working on them as is appropriate. I did want to share our views, which I've consistently done, because we want to be constructive in this process, but we think it's a very important issue to be addressed.
Mr. Ambassador, how do you commend the declaration of Ambassador Hill on Serbia-NATO relations, and also if you have any comment on recent Vučić threats on West about the relation with Kosovo?
So let me I think it's important to be very, very clear about what the policy of the United States government is. A fundamental point is we believe that each country should be free for itself to make its own choices for the alliances and the organizations that it belongs to. And in fact, that is a large part of our engagement in support of the people of Ukraine. We believe the people of Ukraine should be able to choose whether or not they are members of NATO or the European Union, and not let others make that choice for them, in this case Russia. And we are doing everything we can to stop Putin's brutal invasion of Ukraine on this issue. But this fundamental point that countries get to decide for themselves their security arrangements, their alliances, their relationships is a fundamental part of American foreign policy. Now, taking that to the region, we welcome and are very aware that Kosovo has made a choice that it wishes to join NATO someday, and we do everything we can to support that goal. We believe it would contribute to regional stability and security. The United States has invested a lot of energy and effort to support the people of Kosovo and support the Kosovo Security Force as it continues its transition to a NATO interoperable multi-ethnic territorial defense force subject to civilian control. We've put in a lot of effort. We do training, equipment, exercises, sales of armaments and equipment to support that goal. That remains our goal. Kosovo does face a challenge in that some members of NATO have not recognized Kosovo the way the United States and many of our partners have as a sovereign independent state. We want to see that change. We want to see Kosovo's future in NATO advance. Kosovo aligns pretty well with NATO with regard to values and with regard to institutions. So it's more of a question of getting these outstanding issues resolved and seeing it advance. We fully expect to see Kosovo as a full member of NATO someday, and we're working towards that goal. So I think that's all I can say on this issue right now. I would dispute those who want to make comparisons and contrasts of who is standing where in relationship to whom. There's an enormous amount of engagement advancing Kosovo's security, including if it chooses to exercise it, and as it does, its right to move towards NATO membership. On your second question, on the question of recent perceived or real threats, I can only say this. The United States has stood firmly with the people of Kosovo for an awful lot of years, and particularly indirectly in response to any threat to the territorial integrity or security of Kosovo, and that remains the case. I'm not done. Kosovo has the benefit of a large NATO mission here, unique in the region, and there's enormous security guarantees associated with the presence of a NATO force. A NATO force that includes several hundred American soldiers standing with NATO allies to ensure freedom of movement, safe and secure environment, and is a complete deterrent to any sort of attack that people are concerned about. I can only say that our commitment to Kosovo security, the security guarantees the United States has provided they'd remain as strong as they ever have. And we do not lose sleep at night worrying about that threat because we believe NATO is primed and ready and prepared. And I don't think the people of Kosovo should be losing sleep about this either because the most successful military alliance in history has a very robust presence here ready to do the necessary.
Mr. Ambassador, Escobar said on Friday that Kosovo has 2 more conditions for membership.
That is not what he said. You are misrepresenting what he said.
I'm mentioning some properties in the north. What is being talked about since this condition has not been mentioned?
Well, I appreciate the question because I want to dispute the question completely. That is not what Gabe Escobar said at all. What he said was the Council of Europe issue is an important issue, and there are some European countries that have talked about these additional circumstances. He was not laying out a position of the United States of America, so I don't have much more to say. All right, I think we're good, but thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Tani kemi gazetarin Besnik Tahiri për na sjell pra të gjitha të përkthyera. Hovenier foli për dinarin, foli gjithashtu edhe për aspektin e sigurisë dhe antarësimin në NATO. Besnik, për ta përmbledhur këtë deklaratë Hovenier.
Po ishte një deklarim i gjatë i ambasadorit amerikan Jeffrey Hovenier pas takimit me zotrin Bislimi, tha se çështja e dinarit është prekur në këtë takim dhe se ende nuk e din çfarë propozimesh do t'i sjellë Kosova në tavolinë të premten, ndërkaq që dha edhe siguri të forta saj përket antarësimit në NATO të Kosovës, duke thënë se është një shtet pro-perëndimor dhe përpas asaj ambasadori amerikan foli edhe për çështjen e 2 kushteve që sipas deklaratave që i kishte bërë emisari amerikan Gabriel Escobar para disa ditëve se janë 2 kushte për antarësimin e Kosovës në Këshill të Evropës përpas kushtit për bartjen e tokave manastirit të Deçanit. Zotri Hovenier tha se ky nuk është pozicioni amerikan, sipas tij zotri Escobar ka folur se ekzistojnë shtete evropiane të cilat sipas tij kanë 2 kushte, por këto nuk janë kushtet amerikane dhe se sipas Hovenierit Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës mbeten partnere shumë besnike dhe sigurt për popullin e Kosovës dhe për sovranitetin dhe integritetin territorial të Republikës së Kosovës. Kjo për faktin se ambasadori amerikan në Beograd të mbrëm tha se në një farforme Serbia është më afër me NATO-n se sa Kosova. Zotri Hovenier tha se kosovarët, ashtu siç bën edhe ai vetë, duhet të flajnë të qetë për shkak se Kosovën sipas tij e mbron aleanca më e fuqishme dhe më e suksesshme e njerëzimit që është aleanca NATO, po ashtu tha se prania e NATO-s është mjaft e shtuar dhe mjaft e rëndësishme dhe kjo për faktin se Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës janë ndër themeluesit dhe po ashtu edhe marrin shumë pjesë në misionin paqëruajtës të NATO-s KFOR-in. Duke u kthyer te çështja e dinarit, ai tha se Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës mbeten në kërkesat e tyre që të kihet kujdes me atë se si do të implementohet rregulloria e re e Bankës Qendrore të Kosovës për operacione me para të gatshme, ndërkaq që thash edhe një herë në fillim pas adresimit të tij, ai tha se zotri Bislimi nuk i ka prezantuar se çfarë propozimesh do t'i dërgojnë të premten, do thotë pas nesër në Bruksel, do thotë te Miroslav Lajçak që është ndërmjetësuesi evropian për dialogun Kosovë-Serbi, ndërkaq të hënën do të mbahet një takim sy me sy edhe i zotrit Bislimi bashkë me kryenegociatorin e Serbisë Petar Petković.